What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week. We are back to finally do the review of Spider-Noir, which dropped back in May. I do have, I believe, the first 3 episodes that I did a review of the series for up on the channel, that you guys can go and check out. I was planning on doing more, but got busy with other content, stuff with the gaming channel, just simple stuff like that. Just didn't get around to do it, but we're finally here to talk about it. And first and foremost, I really like this series. I thought this was a fun series to begin with, especially when we first got Nicolas Cage as Spider-Noir in Into the Spider-Verse. Now, obviously, there's a difference between that and this one, because if you remember, they essentially said this is not the same one that we saw Into the Spider-Verse. This is something separate from that, which is a disappointing because a lot of people were kind of they really loved that character in the movie and we're very much excited to get this live action adaptation of that character as well. Very much, I thought, and so did a lot of other people, thought it was the same character, but no, it's not the case, because even at the beginning of episode 1, he mentions how someone, Ben Reilly is narrating, talking about how someone once asked him what universe he's from, and, so on and so forth. But needless to say, it's okay. Still to take away from the show itself. So the show presents itself in 2 formats that you can watch it. You can watch it in black and white, like a true noir style of thing, or you can watch it in color. Now, originally when the show announced that type of thing, I was kind of like, I kind of wish they would have kept it just straight noir because it just feels appropriate for the show. But watching it both in noir and color, I think I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, I still would definitely say I would prefer noir for this type of show. But the color, I didn't mind the color. There were times where the color looks really good in in some cases, but definitely would say noir. Overall, cast was great. I really, really enjoyed the cast. Even though I was kind of like, because you have an Asian playing Felicia, Cat Hardy here instead of Felicia Hardy. But I thought Lee, who plays Cat Hardy, I thought she did really well in this role. And I was kind of right. I kind of figured we weren't going to get like a Black Cat type of thing with this character. I'm very curious on in the comics what is Black Cat like in the Spider Noir universe. But I thought she was great. I thought she was pretty fun. Now there is some things like she was set. This show is kind of set during the Depression for pretty much the most part. Um, and so it's a small thing, but you do get touched on it. I think in like in episode 2 or 3 where it, Robbie wouldn't really be able to walk around as he was able to do in most cases. I don't believe during that time. Um, they do add a little something to in the show where it's kind of like uh where he goes and visits Addison's wife and she kind of like threatens him, talking about what are people going to think of a black man trying to burst into the room of a white woman, that kind of thing. So they do kind of somewhat address that a little bit. um but it's a small thing. It's not like a huge thing, but overall, um so the show virtually revolves around obviously Ben. um he has been retired from being the Spider for over 5 years, ever since Ruby, who was the love of his life, the one he was going to marry, was killed. Like, someone got to Ruby to get to him, and he lost in that instance. And so it's been 5 years. He hadn't been the Spider, so that had allowed Silvermane to just run wild throughout the city, doing whatever he wants, bribing cops, rigging elections, that kind of stuff. So he was able to just do whatever he wants with no repercussions from really anybody. Now you start to get these superpower individuals arriving on the scene. First, and for episode one, we get Addison, who has the ability to produce fire. You have we get Flint Marco, obviously as the Sandman. Lonnie Lincoln as Tombstone, even though he doesn't get called Tombstone. Most people should be familiar with the name Lonnie Lincoln. And then you get what was his name? Layden, I think that was his name. Um, who I originally assumed was Electro, but here he calls himself Megawatt. So no, it's fine, it's fine. And then there is another person with power called it's Freckles. I can't remember Ogden. Ogden. Now he was rapidly aging. So I don't know if that counts as like a power, but he was rapidly aging. So Ben during World War One, a lot of these guys, Ogden, uh, Layden, Lonnie Lincoln, Flint Marco, were all in a POW camp held by the Germans around uh, the Argonne offensive forest. Um, Ben is the one who saves them, and he comes across all the experiments that the Germans had been doing, mutations and stuff like that. Obviously, we get this is how Ben gets his powers. This is how he becomes a spider. So we get a little bit of flashback of that. Uh, but overall, I like the villains. The villains were pretty cool. They're not really villains. They're more well, except for Layden. I remember saying Layden is more of a villain. But Lonnie and Marco, I wouldn't necessarily categorize them as villains. Just unfortunate people in an unfortunate circumstance. Um, because the more they use their powers, the quicker they'll die. Essentially, they're like their powers had been dormant for a couple of years until they went to Dr. Faber. Now, Dr. Faber is the mother of Ogden. So she was looking for all these patients who were in this German camp who had been experimented on because she wants to try to help them, try to save them. But by her doing that, she accidentally unlocks their powers, and now their powers are active. And the more they use their powers, like I mentioned, the more they start to um, basically end their life relatively quickly. So part of the season is learning about that. We also see Ben getting back into the role of the spider. Again, 5 years he's been out of it, but he hops back in. Um, there is a little bit of a love triangle with Flint, Cat, and Ben. Ultimately, Cat loves Marco. It's fine. I was okay with the way that little thing ended. I kind of hated for Ben because he thought he found somebody new after Ruby had passed away, only to like just watch it walk away with another man, basically. But overall, it was okay. I do feel bad for Ben, but trying to think what else about this. We get Robbie. We get some Daily Bugle stuff. He at the end of the series, he goes in and starts his own newspaper business. Um, I mean, it was 8 episodes. It was fine. I don't think I hate. I feel like we probably won't get a season two, which I kind of hate. I would love to get a season two, um, but I don't think enough people watched, or maybe not watched. I don't know. Let me see what the budget was for this series. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. That's insane. I wish I could have showed you guys that. That was really cool. Because if you go and typed in Spider Noir, it like did like this noir rain effect. That was like really really cool. Anyway, so the estimated budget for this show was anywhere between 150 million to 400 million for its first season. Now that doesn't probably include like marketing and that kind of stuff. But and plus you have like Nicolas Cage, you have some pretty heavy star power behind this series, so that definitely was not cheap as well. Um, but it seems from most fans online, um, they liked it because if you go over to like I don't nor I don't really pay attention to a lot of these sites. These are these like critic and review sites, but if you go over to like Rotten Tomatoes, for instance, it's sitting at a 92, both a 92% for fan and critic reaction. So it is both fans and critics like the show. Um, so that is a positive thing. But I probably money wise, we might not get a season two, and that's okay if we don't get a season two. I think this could be like just a one season type of thing. Is totally fine. I think sometimes that is okay to have a situation like that where you have a good season and you just have that one good season. If you try to do more, it kind of just takes away from it and it kind of ruins it. But needless to say, um, Nicolas Cage, I love him. I like a lot of the stuff he's in. It sucks because you could tell he's just too old for this type of thing. Obviously, you could tell when it's him in the suit compared to a stunt double. Um, if this was maybe a show that was done 10, 15 years ago, maybe like around 2020, like 2015, 2016, perhaps. Yeah, I could probably I think you could probably see Nicolas Cage doing a lot of his own stuff, maybe. Um, but you could just definitely tell like he was up there when it came to the age and everything like that. But overall, he still put on a great performance. He still love some of the jokes he was doing. I just love that Nicolas Cage humor. I know it's not for everybody, but I just enjoy it myself. But overall, Spider-Noir, I thought it was a great series. Thought it was fun, something new, definitely something of the better project that we have gotten from a movie slash television standpoint in 2025. Like I will put like I it goes in the category of good shows like A Night of the Seven Kingdom. I would even say Maul Shadow Lord is a relatively good Star Wars series. But it's nice they actually get some good stuff. It'd be nice to it'd be more consistent, but it is what it is. But this is definitely a good show to watch and highly recommend people to check it out if you have not watched it. The music was good, the visuals were great, the acting was great. Overall, a really, really fun series that maybe, who knows, maybe Amazon will surprise us, highly unlikely, but maybe they will surprise us with that season two, but we will see. But guys, that is basically it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.